But that is the conversation, how this has affected the residents. And on solutions, guys, it's usually hard. Getting people to give us solutions and answer some of these questions is hard. We had invited Dr. Tom Okurut, who is the Executive Director of the National Environment and Management Authority, but apparently, yes, we can't get him again. But thankfully, we have on phone Mr. Peter Kawujju, the Head of Public Affairs, Public and Corporate Affairs at KCCA. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? I'm
fine, thank you, sir. Now, the conversation today in studios is about solid waste management, and the case in study being the Kiteezi landfill. We've seen the residents there crying for, saying that the landfill actually is full to capacity, and KCCA is pretty much not doing anything about it, and now it's turned to be a health hazard to the residents living around there. So, question would be, is KCCA privy to all this information?
The land is bought by KCC, now KCCA, and it is a facility of Kampala Capital City Authority. We definitely have our workers there. We have the community that we deal with come to sort the garbage, and others that come to scavenge and pick what they think is still valuable for them to generate some products like handcrafts and all that. But we are aware that having been bought in 1996, the landfill is all in its closing stage. So it's not true that we are not doing anything. We have already bought land in Dundu, about 135 acres. That is where we want to build a waste-to-energy facility. We are not going to run it the way Kiteezi has been run, because Kiteezi has been more of a dumping site. But cities world over are now reaping from garbage. Garbage is no longer looked at as waste. They use the waste as a resource to generate energy and come up with other products like fertilizers and stuff like that. So that is what we are working on. It has a few months to go. Kiteezi has a few months to go, and we are doing all we can to ensure that we put the necessary infrastructure in place for us to start a new site in Dundu. We have actually not abandoned the facility as I speak to you now. We are still in charge. We work with the community to address the challenges that come up. We are there on a daily basis. Just 2 weeks ago, we were there with the Committee of Parliament on Presidential Affairs. They also wanted to get an appreciation of what exactly happens there. So we are working to ensure that we begin a new site where we will not dump garbage, but also use it as a resource to produce energy.
All right. And sir, of course, you actually, KCCA decommissioning Kiteezi landfill and commissioning Dundu. Of course, this is in Mukono district. It was a plan that was actually announced last year. So one would ask, why has it taken so long for that to be executed?
You see, it is a process. Even when you're decommissioning a landfill, you don't just leave it the way it is. You must come up with activities that enable it to coexist with the community. So you just can't say today we are not dumping there, we're going to start a new dump site. No. We have to engage, we have to build the infrastructure, and we also have to embrace technology that we will use. So it's not something we could do overnight. It is a process which we've been undertaking, and I must assure Ugandans and everybody that is viewing and listening to us that work is progressing and we are moving in the right direction.
What target are you giving yourselves with regards to commissioning Dundu landfill?
Possibly we are talking about 10 to 12 months for us to be able to start at the new site, because we have been again looking for a partner. It's going to come up under public-private partnership. So it's not that we have money that is already there as government, but we're going to work with somebody to ensure that it comes to fruition.
Okay. Of course, with Kiteezi, residents are crying foul right there, and they say that marabou stocks, these are the birds that started creeping in the landfill, came over, and of course, the waste from this particular birds are poisonous to chicken in the area. They're also crying foul with regards to do with stray dogs increasing in that particular area. There were issues to do with contaminated water, of course, coming from the garbage, seeping into natural water resources. We are talking about boreholes, springs and stuff like that. They also cried foul about the selling of this particular land. Apparently, KCCA was supposed to buy off this land just to ensure that residents who are affected actually relocate to better areas. So with the first three actually concerns being the marabou stocks, the stray dogs and contaminated water, especially with contaminated water, what have you been able to do so far to ensure that the water that residents in that area actually consumed is not contaminated?
We are a responsible corporate entity as KCCA. We actually serve people in the city, so we would not be in the business of being relaxed when people are raising complaints or when people are being affected with illnesses. So we've done our best to ensure that actually the water that comes from the garbage, which we call leachate, is treated to a level which does not cause any effects to the public. Before it's released to flow naturally, it is actually treated. As for the marabou stock, there is, I think, very little you can do. This is a garbage site. It's a dump site. You cannot control birds in the air from coming to to the place. But we do everything within our means to ensure that the community around the site is actually safe, and try to do our best in terms of managing the awful smell as well and all that. But for a site which is a landfill, there are certain things you cannot do away with, like birds. So we can only do what we can to ensure that the lives there are not affected.
Okay, let us in on the process that you actually undertook with regards to acquiring land from the residents who are living there, compensating them so they're able to move to better places. How far have you gone with that? Of course, last year we saw there being disputes with regards to you acquiring land from the residents living there. How far have you gone with regards to compensating them, and what's the move forward?
This land, as I shared earlier, was bought a number of years ago. It was bought in 1996. This is 2018. Last year, we had plans of extending it, just trying to buy some land around it so that we could extend its lifespan. But we discovered this would not actually take us far, and decided to concentrate on a much bigger place, which I have talked about in Dundu. However, we had some challenge where there was where there were some few individuals whose property was affected by rains and all that. So we're able to deal with them on a case-by-case basis to compensate them and replace or cater for the damage that had been caused by the running water from the landfill. So that was actually sorted. But the much bigger picture is for us to concentrate on a place which will add value, where we will not come back to say this place is now small, we can't handle this, this will not work for us. That is why we are going to Dundu.
So you've confirmed that you actually compensated every person?
Yes, we did. Those that were affected. We could come with a claim, but it needed to be verified. If we verified and we actually realized that you deserved compensation, then that happened.
Okay.
If you didn't, then we didn't.
Let's talk about the lessons that KCCA has learned from, of course, the Kiteezi landfill and the management of that particular area as we move to Dundu in Mukono district. So what lessons are we learning, and what exactly will you do differently just to ensure that we don't have a repeat of the issues that we've been seeing in Kiteezi with the residents there? What different things or strategies are you putting in place to ensure that we don't see the same cycle again?
don't make it look like everything that has happened in Kiteezi is actually bad. Kiteezi up to now is a source of livelihood to quite a number of people that use the waste there as a resource for their product. So it has actually enriched quite a number of people as well. So they are both positive and negative lessons for us to pick. Above all, it's the fact that we actually don't have to use garbage or pick garbage and just dump. We can always do a lot more things with garbage as we look at it as a resource. And that is one thing we have picked. It informed our decision to buy land and think of the waste to energy plant. And I think this is going to be a great value addition to all of us Ugandans and all the other people that may come to learn from us. And also the fact that we generate a lot of garbage. I will tell you that some people, if they are cutting matoke to bring to the city, they will bring with all the other things that you may not need to use, even stems at times. So it again points to the fact that we need to continue engaging our communities, telling them to also, if they're bringing stuff to the city, there are stuff that we can actually avoid bringing here. But above all, we think a waste to energy plant where we'll be adding value and using garbage as a resource.
Okay.
To us as Kampala and to us as Ugandans.
All right. Maybe the question would be with regards to lessons learned. When you move now to Dudu and commission Dudu landfill, will you look at matters to do with the proximity of how far residents actually live from the land site? Are those factors that you're looking into just to ensure that residents don't live so close to the landfill? Of course, it's been an issue in Kiteezi, of course, with water contamination and all these other factors. So when it comes to Dudu landfill and you commissioning it, the distance between where residents start to live and where the landfill is at, are those factors that you're looking into?
Why we bought in such an area and such a expanse of land of 135 acres of land, some of those factors, the fact that we needed to put such a facility in an isolated area where we can actually carry on with our business without any impact to the community. So all those are taken care of, and it's going to be one of the very few in Africa, and that's why it has actually taken us all this time planning and putting together resources to realize it.
Okay, all right. Then what becomes of Kiteezi landfill moving forward?
Like I said, we will have to decommission it. Decommissioning comes with a lot of things, reclaiming and ensuring that it doesn't explode or become a disaster to the community. So it takes time. It also doesn't happen in 1 year. So it's already a process which is on. We are thinking of so many ideas, including making it like a recreation sort of facility where you build up a facility and people can actually go and see. You can make it a sports facility. So we are looking into all those options, and it's still too early for us to indicate what exactly it's going to be. But when we decommission it, we will ensure it is as useful as well.
Okay, so all this garbage that is in Kiteezi will be put under use, and value will be added to it using the waste management plan, waste energy plant?
Exactly.
Okay.
Those are the things we are looking at.
All right.
Decommissioning is not only stopping to dump, but it's also looking at the material and everything that is in that facility, and that is being considered.
Okay, all right. As we come to a close, before I let you go, people have been asking this, of course, within the city, different areas still within the city where KCCA has a mandate to take care of, and with regards to solid waste management, whose responsibility is it to keep regions and different areas within the city clean? Because you can see in different estates where people live, you can clearly see garbage piles in places where they're not supposed to be at. So who do we point fingers at, and whose responsibility is it to collect this particular garbage?
The regulation we have regarding management of garbage in the city is called the Solid Waste Ordinance of 2000. It's a law of so many years ago and it puts the responsibility of waste collection on the generator. They indicate that if you do anything and garbage is generated, it is your responsibility to ensure that it is taken to a place that won't cause any challenge. The problem we have in Kampala is this attitude of government will do this for us, government will do this for us. It is wrong. You see people taking water and dumping bottles outside. You see people chewing sugarcane and they drop plastics anywhere they find. When we find you doing that, we will definitely take you. We will take you for prosecution. And so for us, our responsibility is to ensure that we actually pick it and take it to where it is supposed to be, but from designated places. So we have appointed agents where we are not able to collect, because we collect from schools, we collect from health centers, but then we have appointed agents to collect from other areas, especially residential properties and commercial properties. So it is your responsibility to take care of your garbage, to pay for it, to ensure that we have a clean environment. Government is not going to come to your home and clean and it's business as usual. We will only limit ourselves to areas, public areas where we should be. But for private areas, residences and commercial places, you are supposed to pay for that garbage.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Peter Kawujju, the Head of Public and Corporate Affairs at KCCA. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Likewise. That has been the conversation. Keep your views coming. The hashtag is Morning at NTV. You can also stream us live and drop in your comments. NTV Uganda. That's on Facebook and YouTube pages. Remember, in Uganda, thousands of tons of garbage are generated on a daily basis. So what are you doing about your garbage? Do you know where it's, disposed of? Are you responsible for it? Do you pay for it? It's our responsibility. Like he said, government cannot do everything. It's your responsibility, my responsibility to ensure that our environment is clean. Have you looked around your neighborhood of late? Have you spotted garbage spots? How about you just come together, rally up as a community just to ensure that where you live is actually clean and safe for your kids as well. Remember, like we said, when garbage is piled up, then some of this wastewater actually seeps in to the national reservoir water, and of course this is the boreholes, the springs. At the end of the day, it's our responsibility. So let's stand up and take charge of this particular issue. So that has been it for Solutions segment. Apologies, like I told you, we always have issues. Yes, some of the times when you're trying to get guests to answer your questions and answer to this particular challenges that you face, some of them develop cold feet. Like I told you today, we had invited Dr. Tomo Krut, the Executive Director of the National Environment Management Authority, but unfortunately we could not get him. Thankfully, at least we have views from KCCA, and so please take note and let's take charge of solid waste in the city and in the country as a whole, regardless of where you are. So that has been it for Solutions segment. Up next is Take Note with Flavia Tumusime. Keep it here.
Play and win every 10 minutes. For every 1,000 you spend, it gives you one entry into the jackpot this Sunday. To play on MTN, simply dial *165 *33# and follow the prompts on your phone. For Airtel customers, simply dial